Hi, everyone, and welcome to Inside AWAI. My name is Rebecca Matter, and I'm joined by Katie Yeakle. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Rebecca. Hi, everybody.
And Pam Foster. Hey, Pam.
Hi. Welcome, everybody.
And we are super excited about this session. We had this crazy idea because we get tons of emails, tons of questions, tons of things in the Q&A and any other webinar we ever do about how do I find clients. There are so many ways to find clients, and we say this so much that we thought we would show you how many ways there are to get clients. So we're going to go through 26 different ways to find freelance writing clients. Now, obviously, we're going to have to go rapid fire through these if we're going to cover all 26 in under an hour. We will have the Q&A open, though. You can post questions anytime about a specific method, and we can answer them there, or we can open it up at the very end. But we're just going to fly through 26 different ways for you to find freelance writing clients. So our goals for today is to cover all 26 ways and to show you really that there is something for everyone, no matter what your personality type. If we show you the first method and you hate that method, that's okay, because there's 25 more. You really only need to find one. And more than likely, you're going to find a few that you like, but you really only need one to start out to actually start finding clients. So that you will see of the 26 ways, no matter what your personality type, introverted, extroverted, hate the idea of talking to people, love the idea of talking to people, whatever. There will be plenty of methods for you to use, whether you want to work online, in print, in person, no matter what your comfort level is, we will be able to help you get clients. And then we'll wrap up at the very end, which is the best way to get started. We're going to rapid fire, give you 26 different ways, and then help you at the end actually get started. What do you do with this information so that you can move forward? I'll give you a couple of resources along the way as well. So if we talk about something and we've done another Inside AWAI that does a deep dive into that subject, we'll give you those links as well so that you know that those resources exist. And then we'll close up everything with our Q&A. Is everybody ready? All right, let's jump into the number one that most people don't want to do. That's called cold calling. And like I said, that's okay because there's 25 other methods, but cold calling is a way that you can find writing clients. So, what is cold calling? Cold calling is genuinely calling someone up. I want to work for AWAI. I ring them up. I say, who hires your copywriters? They say Rebecca Matter or Jackie or whoever. You call that person up. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm a copywriter in the self-improvement space. I work on da-da-da-da. It is a very direct way to drum up business. You can call anybody. You can look them up on LinkedIn. You can look them up on their websites. If you understand who you want to write for, it's very easy, right? It's one thing to be prospecting for hundreds of different potential companies, but if you know you want to write for Agora Financial, if you know you want to write for Burt's Bees, if you know you want to write for solar technology manufacturer ABC, you could just call them. And that example that I gave you at the beginning was a tip that I got from Nick Usborne, and that is to genuinely call and say, who hires your copywriters? And when they give you that name, you then call that person and tell them that the other person recommended that you call them because they're the ones that hire copywriters. So cold calling, we know what it is. You call up, if they say yes, they want to learn more, all you're trying to do right there is start a conversation, and for them to say, yes, I'd like to know more, or yes, let's have a conversation. You're just trying to make a connection. If they say yes, great, you have a lead and you'll be following up. If they say no, you just move on to the next one, and that's okay. You could genuinely land a project the first person that you call. You could land the client the 20th person that you call. If you have any background in sales, you'll know, though, that it's a numbers game. It's really luck of the draw. Let's say you're going to make 5 connects for every 100 calls that you make, or 10 connects. People actually picking up the phone, and of those, you're going to close one, so it might take 100 calls. If you just think about the numbers, you want to pick up the phone again and again and again, because that next call could be a yes, and the next call after that could be the yes. So even once you hit a yes with cold calling, you want to pick up the phone again and call the next one, because it is just numbers. And the more people you call, the more likelihood you will hit a yes. And again, whenever you get a yes, you immediately pick up the phone again, because the next one could be a yes, and the one after that could be a yes, but you won't know unless you call. So that is cold calling. Number 2, warm email prospecting. A little bit different than cold calling, because you're trying to get leads here. You're trying to warm up a conversation before you actually reach out. Email is highly effective at reaching lots of people quickly. My recommendation, though, is even though you are going to be able to email tons of people with warm email prospecting, and there's tons on our website. If you go to our website, awai.com, and search warm email prospecting. You'll find some really great examples and sample emails from Ed Gandia. He's a great expert in this space, and we have tons of content on this. But basically, you're reaching out to a lot of people at one time trying to figure out who's actually interested in your services so that you can then follow up with that quote-unquote warm lead and try to close the deal. I will say, though, to still try and personalize this as much as possible, even if it's just because you simplify the letter enough to see if you're getting to the right person. I get a lot of, as you can imagine, a lot of emails every single day from people who are looking to prospect AWai as a company, whether they want to offer search engine optimization or graphic design or accounting software or lead generation or all these different services that are provided to small businesses. They're constantly contacting us. I delete them immediately when they look like a generic email. So when you're writing your email, and you'll learn more about this on our website, but when you're writing, just make sure that it reads like a real email. You don't want it to be like, this generic boilerplate copy that I can tell it's not an email to me. And the minute I open it, when I see that it's not an email to me, I just delete it. So just be thinking about that. If you were to receive this email, does it look like a real email? Make the most out of your current connections. We're going to talk a little bit about this method actually later, but use them to drum up potential prospecting business as well. And actually, we're going to go into that in a different method, so I'll touch on that later. But the secret with any email, with any kind of prospecting, is always what's in it for the recipient. When I open my email, you want me to take an action. You want me to call you, email you back, do something to show you that I'm interested. Why should I do that? What is in it for me to open your email? What's in there for me? And what is in it for me to do what you want me to do? Again, whether it's to call you, click a link, respond, tell you I'm interested. Why? If you just keep that front of mind when you're email prospecting, and really any kind of getting clients method, you will go a lot further and have more success. It's always about the other person. So that's method number 2, warm email prospecting. Method number 3, another one that makes people like, just like cold calling, networking. Like even the word networking, just kind of, for many of us, it's like, got a badge on my shirt, I'm shaking people's hands. What do? I've got my elevator speech. Networking makes people uncomfortable, a lot of people. But if you're good at it, if you like it, you can dominate because everybody else is super uncomfortable. So if you're a good networker, this is a fantastic way to drum up business. You can basically walk up to anybody. You go to places where there's a likelihood of people who want to hire copywriters and tell them I help businesses grow through copywriting. I write the words, all of the words that are on the websites and the landing pages and the social media pages and the emails that you receive and the newsletters. I write those. I am a copywriter. Networking opportunities exist everywhere. You can do more of the traditional, Chamber of Commerce, where you go to your local chamber, you sign up for a meeting, you stand up in front of everybody and say, I am a copywriter specializing in B2B. I write da-da-da-da-da. That would be one way of networking. You can go to other chapter meetings of other organizations that are local for you. There are online groups, so you can do in-person networking, and we're going to talk about online as well, but there's physically going to meetups and things. I live in Austin, Texas. Any day of the week, if I want to meet small business owners or mid-sized business owners or network with other people, there's something going on almost every single day in Austin. So if you live in a big city or even just a strong city or close by to one, there's a good opportunity if you go to meetups that if you just search business, small business, or even in your industry, there's a good likelihood that there will be meetups with marketers, with writers, with small business owners, whatever it is that you're trying to target. Remember, something like marketers, there's a marketing meetup here in Austin every day of the week. It's crazy here. So that might not seem like the right audience, like, well, I'm targeting small business owners, but all of the marketers who are at those meetings hire copywriters, and all of their friends hire copywriters, all of the colleagues that they work with, all of their associates, people that are in other companies hire marketers. So those could be great networking opportunities for you. Again, the goal here is what's in it for them. When you go there, I can help you do what? What is your specialty? What do you bring to the table? What can you help them do with your writing? So networking is obvious, which leads to online participation. So along with being in person at networking events, you can also network online. There are tons of groups online, right? So LinkedIn has tons of social groups. Facebook has tons of social groups. You can literally get in there and participate with people, with business owners in your industry. But beyond that, You can also, when we put online participation in here, you can network online, but you can also connect online with your potential clients. Potential clients, people that you want to work for, have things like blogs, forums, social media groups where they talk to their prospects and they talk to their customers. You can get involved in those spaces. So their potential clients or prospects are posting content. I have a question about this product. So think about AWAI, for example. We have a group called Professional Writers on Facebook. Prospect, John Doe writes in there, I have a question about copywriting. I saw this thing about the accelerated program. Can anyone answer this question? And immediately people start chiming in, answering questions on our behalf. It's not us that's doing it, it's our members. So many of the people who work for me in social media now, I met through opportunities like that. Lee Vasquez-Newen, who runs our Barefoot Writer membership group, was just a social media participant. We are watching. We're watching our blogs. We're watching the comments. We're watching our social media groups. We're watching our forums. When you represent yourself as somebody who knows the brand, trusts the brand, respects the brand, knows the products, knows the market, and is just downright helpful and writes very well, you can be sure that the client knows who you are. In this case, we reached out to her and said, hey, you're doing such a great job anyways. Would you mind if we just paid you to keep doing it? In addition, I've had people like Steve Maurer, for example, who runs our LinkedIn group. He was approached the same way. However, when people like him have come to me and said, hey, can I write an article on ABC? I say, I know exactly who you are. I see you in LinkedIn all the time. So yes, I do know that you are knowledgeable, that you're professional, that you understand our prospects. Absolutely. So you can do it two ways. One, you can just be seen and have them come to you, or two, just to become recognizable so that when you follow up in a cold calling situation or email prospecting or just submitting a proposal, they know exactly who you are. The key here is to be professional, be helpful, and demonstrate your own expertise. Even your social media post, your Facebook update is an example of your writing. So make sure that you're doing, don't be, cutesy, be professional and show them exactly how great of a writer you are. And then, Pam, I'm going to hand it over to you on this next one after this, but this brings me then to LinkedIn. We talked about online participation. LinkedIn is a fantastic place to get clients. We talked about the group participation and networking. There's tons of groups on LinkedIn you can join to demonstrate your expertise. But LinkedIn is a very effective tool for actually finding clients. You can specialize or customize your LinkedIn profile page to be exactly for your niche. You can tell companies, I am the writer that you need. Look at how specific Steve is. He's an industrial manufacturing and safety copywriter. That is super specific, right? So if I'm a company in the space and I hit Steve Maurer's landing page on LinkedIn, I know who he is. But beyond that, so it's a great marketing tool for clients to find you. It's what we call the social media king for professionals. But beyond that, you can use it for researching. You can find the person in the company who hires writers. We put it as our titles on LinkedIn. We publicly display who we are in the company and what we do for that company. But it can help you connect. You never know who's friends of a friend is at the company that you want to work for, and you can be found, like in Steve's case. There's tons of great examples. So there's personalizing your page, like what I just talked about, and this URL will be active. I'll send you the recording afterward. This will be active. It's also on our Inside AWAI landing page, but that, Elise Bennett actually walks through how to set up your LinkedIn profile so that it is professional, so that it attracts the right potential clients, so that people can find you. And then you can also use it and then participate. So Steve, what he does when he's familiar with a company or familiar with a product and they post something, he'll post a comment demonstrating his expertise about that product or service. His clients are watching. The minute he posts, what do you think that they do? They go and they click on his profile to see, who is this guy? Why does he know so much about this equipment? Oh, because he used to service this equipment and now he's a copywriter in this space. So he gets tons of leads simply by commenting on their pages, on their articles that they post on LinkedIn and things, on their posts, and just by them wondering who the heck he is and why is he so knowledgeable, they click on his name, which takes them to his landing page on LinkedIn, which is so specific and customized to them. Of course, they're going to kick it over to their marketer and say, hey, do you know anything about this Steve Maurer guy? Like, he's a copywriter specifically in our space. Who is in safety, right? So it's a great marketing tool for researching, connecting, and having clients find you. Everybody should be on LinkedIn. Okay, Pam, I'm coming over to you. I'm going to take a breath and let you take over.
Okay. All right, number 6, optimize your website. If you have a website or if you're about to build one, which I highly recommend because that is one thing that you control at all times. Social media is awesome, but sometimes they'll change the way they display things or feed content. So you definitely want to have your own website because you get to control all the content on that at all times. So here we have an example of an optimized website, and just like Steve had an optimized LinkedIn profile for his safety and industrial manufacturing niche, this one is optimized for the pet industry. And everything about it is talking about helping pet marketers or veterinary marketers. So what you want to do is think like your client. What are they searching with phrases in Google or on LinkedIn or on YouTube or wherever? What phrases are they using? And I happen to know that if you go on a job website like Indeed.com or SimplyHired.com, clients are looking specifically for copywriters in their industry. You see it everywhere in those job sites. So like a fashion copywriter wanted, or someone who understands sailing, or somebody who's written tech software copy. So think of that when you're optimizing your own website and use those phrases. I'm using an example here of fitness copywriter. So let's say a company that makes fitness equipment and sells it to all these fitness places all over the country. They need someone who understands that world. So they're going to look for a fitness copywriter. So if that happens to be you, if that's your niche, you want to use fitness phrases in your content. You want to say, I'm a fitness copywriter, or I'm a copywriter for the fitness industry. I help with fitness websites. I work on fitness market emails. I can guide your fitness marketing for you. So do that. Please try that, because it really can make a difference in you being found by clients online instead of having to chase clients. So it's huge. And you want to put that in your regular content on your web pages. And then you'll also, if you're doing a website like in WordPress, for example, they'll have an area where you can put in your page title and your description. And here's just a little example here: sports and fitness copywriting, Market Smiths. That's the page title. And then the description is, when your business involves sports or fitness, you're selling excitement, action, power, and fun. Make sure your sports and fitness copywriting follows suit. Okay, so they're completely optimizing it with the right phrases. This is also known as SEO, search engine optimization, so that when a company that makes fitness equipment goes in Google, types in fitness copywriter, bada boom, you show up like this company did. So that's website optimization, and it's a lot of fun. Another thing I love is trade shows. Boy, oh boy, you would not believe, in any industry there are usually very active professional associations or organizations, and quite often many of them have an annual conference with a trade show. And if you can see in this image, I have a yellow arrow pointing to current exhibitors. That's your gold mine. That's where you can find, even on their website, that there's a trade show coming up, PB Expo. I can't remember. I guess this has to do with aviation. And they're having a conference with exhibitors. Well, those exhibitors could be your potential clients if you're in the aviation industry, if that's the niche you're writing for. So look up whatever industry you're interested in, and you're going to find trade shows and conferences, and many of those websites will show you the exhibitors. So what do you do with that? Well, first of all, you have hundreds of potential clients in one place. You can look online first and maybe see a whole list. I've worked many years in the veterinary industry. There's an annual veterinary trade show. They post their exhibitors. There are 800 companies, 800 potential clients for me. Hallelujah. It's awesome. So you could just make a list and reach out to those companies through warm email prospecting, through LinkedIn social groups, any of these methods. That's where you can find the clients to approach. Now, another thing you could do is go to the conference. I've done that many times. Other people have too. The way you have to get in, though, is either have a press badge, or if you have an industry contact who can bring you along, because sometimes they keep those things closed to industry professionals only, and they can be very specific about it. Also, you don't want to be overtly selling your services at the trade show floor, because that's called suitcasing, and they will throw you right out of there, because basically the exhibitors paid, oh gosh, over $100,000 to be there, and they're looking for business. They're not looking for people selling them. So all you want to do is walk through the floor, get to know the companies, collect cards, and then you follow up. Be friendly, memorable, and then when you go home and everybody's gotten home after the trade show, you can then follow up with email. Hi, remember me? I met you. I'm a writer. Now I'd like to talk to you about what I do and see how I could help you. So trade shows can be phenomenal. Public speaking is another fun thing if you've got the nerve. And I actually do have the nerve. I don't know why, but I'm okay with public speaking, and you might be too. And basically, it's a great way to get in front of groups who might hire you. It positions you as an automatic authority and expert status. If you're up there speaking, you must have something important to say, and you must have knowledge in marketing or writing or websites, that type of thing. It could be on stage at a live event, or it could also be online like a podcast or a webinar like we're doing right now. But basically, you just want to prepare a really great topic that people are eager to find out about. Like right now, everybody's wondering, should I use Instagram or should I use Facebook for my business? Well, as a copywriter, you're learning how to write great content that brings in prospects, so you could make that the topic of your talk. And there's a good chance that all the people in the room don't study this every day, so they won't have any idea, and they'll be grateful for your knowledge. So you can look for opportunities to speak at your local chamber of commerce, at trade associations, publications that might have an online podcast or something. They have an online audience, and even companies who market to your ideal clients, like a consultant or a web agency. They may do a sponsored breakfast at the chamber type thing, and you can say, hey, maybe I can talk on search engine optimization. I've been learning about that, and I got a lot of great ideas. So that's another one. Inbound marketing, this is where another way of bringing clients to you. I talked about, well, Rebecca talked about LinkedIn. That's a great way to bring professionals to you on LinkedIn. Also, your optimized website should bring people to you through Google. And then if you want to offer something really cool that they want, you can do inbound marketing. You can run space ads to bring them to you. You can run an email campaign. But you want to prepare something that shows that you're an authority in the copywriting world for a particular niche. So again, veterinary marketing, I did a bunch of stuff, a report on the 5 things veterinary practices are missing in their marketing. And number 1 was they didn't put their location on their website. But anyway, I digress. But you want to publish content that's highly relevant to your ideal clients. And when you do that, you'll be bringing clients to you. And it takes time to develop this, but it can be great for writers because you don't have to pay anybody else to create this stuff for you. You write the content. You write the report or whatever it is that brings people in. And blogging is a great way to do that too. If you're blogging every week about a new tip for marketing yourself in that niche, they will find you. I've gotten lots of client leads that way. We also have an Inside AWAI session already available that's called 5 Ways to Get Clients to Come to You. Again, that link will be live when you watch the recording of this. Number 10, e-newsletters. A lot of copywriters offer an e-newsletter, and they develop a nice list of people who are interested in how to market their business. So let's say Steve Maurer, again, in the industrial safety and manufacturing world, he develops a newsletter that every month he puts out the latest, greatest things that are going on in that industry, and how maybe marketing case studies or really cool stories about a company that he found a story on Inc.com or something. He can post about it and talk about it and why did it work. And then this newsletter is going to be highly anticipated every month by these clients. So again, you would work to build an audience of marketers in your industry, and then send out an e-newsletter each month that demonstrates your knowledge and expertise, and that you're curating really cool stuff for that audience. So you're kind of saving them time and energy on that stuff. Provide value, and then tap into the know and like and trust factor, where They get to know you. They get comfortable with you. You become familiar to them. And then when they're ready to hire, they're like, who's that guy that keeps sending me that awesome newsletter? I need to talk to him about that. Okay, now I'm going to pass the baton to Katie, and she's going to go through the next steps.
All right, Pam, thank you so much. I do want to point out something that I hope everyone is keen in on, and that words that have been coming up, setting yourself up as an expert. You are copywriters. You have skills that your prospects need, your future clients need and value. So you want to be sure you're starting from that position, that you are gaining your expertise no matter where you are on the spectrum here. You're going to always be learning and always be adding to it, but be sure you're starting from that position of power. The other thing that I heard a lot of, and that you're going to hear through the rest of these methods, is, whenever possible, be personalized. What you're really doing is starting a relationship, and you want it to be a long-term relationship. So think of it in terms of that you're not talking to a mass of people. Even if you are sending out, 100 emails at a time, you're talking to one person with a problem that you can help solve for them. And that ties into the third thing that is a theme that applies no matter what method you're doing, and that is you really want to put yourself in the shoes of your potential client. And how can you help them? How can you make their day better? How can you make them a star in their industry? And start from there, and then layer in the different things that you have to offer. So cold emailing, not that different from number 2, which was warm emailing. This is where you just don't necessarily have a connection yet, and you're trying to start that first step of a relationship. So it is important to make the connection. And, sometimes it is a little bit challenging to find out who you're actually writing to. You do a little research. We've touched on that on other of these steps, how you go about finding who you send it to. But just like you were starting a conversation with somebody new, you'd want to introduce yourself and let them know quickly that you have something that they're interested in. You don't want to sell. This is really just an icebreaker, just to get the conversation started, and you want to customize it whenever possible. Do a little bit of research. Learn something about the company so that you have something relevant to offer them. Benefit to the reader, benefit to the prospect. Google Alerts, I love this one. This is when you create an alert through Google on a specific company, a specific industry, a specific niche, whatever it is where you're going to start getting news that's relevant to this particular world. And, this is a great thing that also ties back to, email marketing, either warm or cold or some of the other things. When something exciting comes that is relevant to your potential customers, send them a quick little email about it. That's a great way to stay connected and offer some value. But basically what the Google Alerts do is it lets you know when something new or newsworthy or exciting is happening. Like I said, you set up the Google Alert for whatever industry or business or topic that you're interested in, where you want to know newsworthy items that are happening. So there's 2 advantages. First, it gives you more information about what's going on in that particular world. That's going to spark ideas for you. But it also gives you clues as to where companies are going to need perhaps more copy, more content. If there's a breakthrough in an arthritis cure, let's say, well, all the health publishers are going to be wanting to write about that. So that's a great introduction. It's a great little branch to hand out. Listen, I just read about this new study, and I know your readers are going to want to know about it. This is what I've learned, and this is why I think it's so relevant for you. You know, that kind of thing. Or whatever, if the company themselves has some exciting news, chances are you reach out to them. So in that scenario, whatever company made the discovery or uncovered the new breakthrough, they're going to have a lot of activity. They're going to need press releases. They're going to need emails. They're going to need information for their investors or their subscribers or whatever it is. You want to really think in terms of this ripple effect. You know, who all does this news impact, and how can I ride that wave? How can I be part of that? It really, it's like you're getting project ideas, and you're actually getting prospects and prospects right to your inbox. So that's a fun one. 13, list building. This ties back to what Pam just talked about as far as building an email list. And, or, you know, if you want to have an e-letter. With this method, what you do is you put together a special report or offer to do some kind of audit or some kind of copy check or, you know, whatever it is. There's lots of different avenues you can go there. But what is something that would be of value to your audience, to your potential prospects, that you can do easily and for free that's going to show the value that you offer? And you offer to do that in exchange for them giving you their contact information. You want to be able to demonstrate your expertise with whatever it is that you're giving away. You want it to be something that can be fulfilled fairly quickly and easily, and you want it to look good. You want to be sure that you're rewarding them for the investment of time that they're giving you. And then the most important part is you want to follow up. You know, oh, hey, you know, after you read this, I hope you enjoyed this special report on how to how to grow the best tomatoes this summer. Let me offer you some more information about how I can help you grow your business and take it from there. So it's important that there be a thought-out strategy when you're doing list building. The worst thing is to get people to actually raise their hand and say that they're interested in what you have to offer, but then not have a plan to follow up. So that's another really solid way of building a well-rounded business. One other thing, just on a side note, you know, the beauty of these 26 methods is you can pick and choose, you can do them simultaneously. So many of them support each other. Like the work you'll be doing for one will apply to others as well too. So I think you hone in on what appeals to you first and then kind of go out from there. You know, kind of the circle goes out from there, and you apply the work that you're doing to other strategies too. The last one that I'm going to talk about right now is job boards. You know, what a great resource available to you. Here are just a few. Direct response jobs, of course, which is AWAI's exclusive job board for AWAI members. There's Simply Hired, Indeed, Flex Jobs, and there's more if you go out there and look. The thing that's so great about this is it gives you an inside track into companies that not only are hiring right now for the specific position they're advertising, but you know that they hire copywriters, that they need copywriters, they need content writers. So even if this specific job doesn't work out or that's not the right one from you, you have contact information, you have an in to contact them and say, you know, do research, first of all, see what types of marketing materials they use. You know, do they have an e-letter? Do they offer reports? Is it a magazine? Is it a hard product? Are they B2B? Whatever it is, do some research, but then know that this is a company that hires copywriters, that needs copywriters, and there very well could be an opportunity for you there as well. All right. Am I passing it back to Rebecca now? I think I am.
You are.
I am. Okay, Rebecca, back to you.
This is crazy. I'm not sure we're going to make the time. So I'll keep on going. Okay, number 15, your personal network. This is beyond like your work contacts and things like that. This is an often untapped method that most writers don't even think about. But tonight, I want you to make a list of everyone that you know. Not like, again, like not, you know, third level business contacts, people that you met at a trade show, but like who do you actually know? Like your neighbor, your friends. These are 3 of my friends. I don't know if you can see the picture on yours. I can't see it on mine, but 3 of my friends, I know the picture. One of them is very well connected in IT and financial. So if I want to enter that space, I would get to know, I would just ask her, tell her I'm a copywriter and everyone she knows. One is a blogger, very well connected with she has a huge platform of people, but I could write on her website. There are things I could do with her. One is a huge social network. You never know who you know until you start telling them I'm a copywriter. So tonight, make a list. Your friends, your family members, the members on your PTA, people who go to your church, past employers, colleagues, like anyone who's a first level contact of you where you would feel very comfortable just reaching out to them. Hey, John, I've opened up a copywriting business. This is what I'm doing. If you know of anybody who could use my services, I'd really appreciate you recommending me or letting me know, connecting me to them. You never know who is in your circle. Your dad's brother's dentist's patient from last Thursday could end up being your ideal client. Tell everyone that you know in your personal network that you are a copywriter. You will be surprised at how many connections you can make and how genuinely helpful your network will be. People want to help you. When you say I started a new business, they want to feel useful. They want to feel valuable. Your friends want to help. So just tell everyone that you're a copywriter and what they can do to assist you, which is to possibly connect you with people that they know who might need a copywriter. The next one is lead generation. So we talked about like warm prospecting and trying to get leads, right? We're going to talk about list building. But when I talk about lead generation, bringing in somebody who is a perfect candidate for me, think of the example of like a insurance company, right? The perfect lead for them is somebody who has a car, who has a house, somebody who potentially already has insurance and might want a quote on a better insurance plan. So what could you give them? You know, I can audit your current insurance plan and tell you how much money I could save you. That's a hot lead. That's what lead generation is. You're giving away something for free, which is similar to building a list, but we're giving away something more valuable. Lead generation is, you know, I'm trying to find specific people who are interested in what I'm serving. So a 30-minute consultation. I'll talk to you about your marketing plan and see where the holes are. Maybe a basic website audit. If you're interested in site auditing or writing content, you might perform a very simple top-level audit for free simply to get that connection and start the conversation. A content review, a guide to today's websites that work. It might be that you have this thing of value that people want, and therefore you're giving it away in exchange to start a conversation. That's called lead generation, which then leads us to relationship marketing. So a little bit different than personal network. Personal network marketing is you making a list of everyone that you personally know and telling them all that you're a copywriter. Relationship marketing is taking it a step further beyond just the list of everyone that you know and going into like really everyone that you know, all of your LinkedIn contacts, the people that you met at the trade show, all those networking events, all those business cards that you have, everyone that you have ever come in contact with who could be a potential lead for you, putting them into a bucket and making sure that you stay in touch with them. The whole part of marketing yourself, getting clients, is starting to form relationships. It's not looking to pick up the phone and close a sale immediately or to send an email and then land a deal. It's just to start a relationship. And if you think about that for a second, it takes the pressure off. You're not having to put yourself out there and, you know, the whole thing live or die on whether the person says yes in that moment. I just want Pam to return my phone call. I just want to start a conversation. I just want to hear what problem she's having right now. That's the first step. Once you have that connection, though, we move into something called relationship marketing, which is cultivating those relationships, making those relationships grow, continuing those relationships, making sure that they stay intact. We can't keep our relationships if we don't reach out to people, right? So relationship marketing is staying in touch and continuing those relationships, whether we're trying to move the relationship to a new level, whether we're trying to go from coffee to maybe like dinner if we were dating before we get to marriage. It could be just putting your name in front of their face. Again, Bob Bly is exceptional at this. I got 2 emails from him in the last 2 weeks. Hey, I thought this would be of interest to you. Here's a database of public relations, this, that, and the other. And here's an article that your people might find, your members might find of interest. He stays front of mind because he's constantly just reaching out to be helpful. So make a list of everyone, all of your contacts, and start bucketing them. You could bucket them by level of how you know them. You could bucket them by where the relationship is. Like this one's super cold. We've just had a first introduction. This bucket of people I actually know pretty well. We've worked together, or we've had a conversation about proposals, but we haven't moved past that. These are past clients of mine. And then come up with a plan. How are you going to connect with them regularly? Obviously, some of those buckets are going to be more valuable to you than others. So Bob Bly is, along with being an expert for us, I'm also a client of his. So it's worthwhile for him to stay in touch with me. So your past clients, you want to stay with more regularly. You might want to get together with them, call them on the phone, have a more personalized, direct conversation. Whereas the people that you've just collected business cards with, you might just send out an email. You might just tell yourself, every month I'm going to send them an email about something that I found in the industry. So just come up with a game plan. Bucket your people accordingly and just say, I'm going to stay in touch with bucket A by doing this. I'm going to stay in touch with bucket B by doing that. And bucket C is so high level, so high valuable, or these are all local people that I'm going to have lunch with one person a week just to keep my network strong and my relationships going. The key is just frequency. You want to keep your relationships going, no matter what level they are. Snail mail, something we don't really think about all that often these days, but actually writing a letter and putting it in the mail. So many people are emailing, right? Nobody sends an email. I rarely get mail from a writer. And when I do, the whole office, like when I've been in the Florida office and someone has sent me a direct mail package, we all stop what we're doing and we go through it because it's so interesting. And if it's well written, there's a chance that we're going to follow up with that person. But you're going to make sure that you get to the right person because you are addressing the package to the person that you are trying to get to, and they're going to open the letter. So make it, again, just like the email, make it a good letter, make it a custom letter. Really, if you're going to take the time and the money to send something in the mail, make it awesome, right? Really get their attention and make it as personalized as possible. It's such a great tool, and this is something to think about with everything that you do, your website, your LinkedIn profile, the emails that you send, the phone calls that you make, the snail mail, the lead gen piece that you send out, the special report that you write. These are all samples. These are all examples of what you do, your professionalism. So make sure that everything that you write, everything that you put out there is professional and shows that you want them. Like the thing I love about snail mail is if it looks personalized and you really take the time to do it, it's going to tell me, the client, man, this guy really wants to work for me. And I love that. That's just ego. That's for everybody. Whenever I'm hiring, if I have 2 employees that I'm looking to hire, one asks for the job and the other one doesn't, and they're equally qualified, I'll hire the one that asks for the job every single time. So showing me that you really want to work for my company, you took the time to personalize everything and research my website, and it's going to go a long way. So snail mail is another method. And then I'm going to pass it over to you, Pam, in a second, but the other one that's slightly different from the others. These are all very similar but different, aligning with other service providers. Now you can argue, okay, this is like networking or your personal network, but it's a little bit different. When I say aligning with service providers, I'm talking about people who provide other services than you, where you have a relationship that is intended to refer each other. So not just having a network. Yes, will they fall into your relationship marketing? Sure, because you're going to want to stay in touch with your contacts regularly. But I'm talking about people that you have like a relationship with that's intentional. Like, hey, graphic designer Lori Haller, I'm a copywriter. Whenever you get a client like this and they need copy written for their website, I want you to recommend me. And whenever I'm working with a client on a web project and they need a graphic designer, I'm going to recommend you. So that way I can expand my network. When a client comes to me and says, Rebecca, I'm so excited that you're going to be working on this direct mail package. Do you happen to know anybody who can handle the actual mailing, who can work with the print shop and the mail? I do happen to have someone like that. That's not a service that I offer, client A, but you come to the right place because I'm your network person. I have this great network of people that I recommend. And you can partner with anybody. You can partner with lawyers who work for small businesses that might be your potential clients, CPAs, other writers. We're actually going to target this one specifically as a method, but there are other writers out there who you could partner with, consultants. anybody who could potentially be talking to your potential clients, you can form a strategic relationship with where you will recommend each other back and forth. All right, Pam, over to you. We're in the home stretch.
All right. Whoops.
You just muted yourself, Pam. I don't know if you can see that.
Sorry, I
there
thought I was unmuted. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Going so fast, I lost my tech brain.
It's so fun.
I know. All right, let's see what I can do for the next few in a record time. So agencies like marketing agencies, ad agencies, design agencies, we kind of just talked about that, but I'm going to go a little more in depth from my own personal experience. So they already have experience on working on marketing campaigns, every piece of a marketing campaign. And what's cool is that they don't necessarily have someone on staff with a particular skill. So, quick story: I was sought out by a B2B agency in Arizona who, this is years ago, but they didn't have someone who understood search engine optimization writing or SEO for B2B or business-to-business clients. And these are people who are like suppliers in the industry or vendors who supply in an industry. And so they really needed my expertise. They brought me in. I gave them a per web page rate. We negotiated it down just slightly, but because they already found the client and they already have the system to make this all work smoothly, I was really happy to have that. So see if there are ad agencies or marketing agencies or design firms in your area locally, and go to like the business meetups we talked about, or go to a marketing club meetup. We have something here in Maine called Ad Club, and they meet once a month, and you can meet with design and web agency owners. And they'd be thrilled to know that you have a particular skill, like let's say maybe you're a video script writer. They don't have that on staff, so they'll hire you when their clients need video scripts. It's really great because you get to focus on the writing and your copy expertise, and you don't have to worry so much about building client bases. So definitely leverage that. And then when you put your website together, you can put clients I've worked with, and you can put those big names on your website. I mean, you have worked with them through the agency, so it's legit. And boy, what credibility that is. So definitely look into agencies. Interviewing is interesting. Let's say you have a blog or a podcast, or you write lots of articles on your website. You can reach out to companies and see if the CEO or the marketing director or anyone of interest in that niche would be willing to be interviewed. You can say, listen, I want to do a blog post on marketing in the automotive industry. I'm glad that you guys are asking questions too, because I'm stealing all your niches that you've posted. But let's say you have a local company that's done a really good job of marketing through direct mail. You get all their mail. I've got one right here on my desk from a local auto parts company that's offering me a free oil change, and that's mail. So maybe you want to interview that auto parts person and talk about that. And then suddenly you've got a link. You've got, well, first of all, great content for your website, and that shows that you have writing skills, interviewing and writing skills, but also suddenly now you have a contact at a local business that might go, hey, I like what you're writing. Can you write stuff for us? So it's incredible. You can also create reports from that stuff. And then, as we said, you know, if you're building your list, have a valuable report. You don't need, it kind of writes itself if you're doing this type of interviewing. So it just gives you all kinds of opportunities. You could follow up with a proposal to that particular person you interviewed, or again, just have it as great content that sets you up as an authority in that niche. So blogging, I mentioned before, but I'm going to get a little bit more specific now. Again, blogging general stuff, it might be harder to be found online. Really, it's ideal to blog about marketing in your niche industry. So if you're writing for the wedding industry, just for example, you might do a blog about wedding marketing, or wedding suppliers and how they can reach wedding planners and brides and grooms and all that stuff, and just keep going. Like, How does social media, write a blog post about social media, how does that work for wedding marketers? And then the next week you might talk about video scripts, and the next week you might talk about email. And as you're learning the copywriting skills, again, you can blog about how companies in the niche that you want to write in could benefit from that knowledge. Because again, they're so busy running their companies, they often don't know this deeper stuff. You can't assume, you shouldn't assume that clients know anything about copywriting. They really don't, because they haven't studied it the way you will or you do. So when you're writing blogs like that, that's going to set you up as a genius, brilliant, awesome content provider, and it brings in traffic from Google, good leads. That's how a lot of leads have come in for me in the veterinary industry, because I was blogging about marketing your veterinary products or services. I'm going to whip through these bullets really fast. So target your ideal clients as the readers. Who do you want to reach? You're not blogging to consumers, because they're not going to hire you. You want to blog to the marketers trying to reach the consumers so they can see that you can help them. Provide fresh, valuable topics, things that are happening now. Like you could write, why is a royal wedding like a marketing blah, blah, blah in automotive industry? I mean, you could just have fun with it. And then you demonstrate your expertise. You should post regularly if you're doing a blog. The worst thing, saddest thing in the world is to go to a website and the blog is from 2015, the last post. So commit to it. It's a commitment, but it's an awesome way to build traffic. And Rebecca's tip is don't post the blog until you have at least 5 posts, so it doesn't look like just one lonely post out there. Ideally, you want to have a few in the can all ready to go. Spec assignments. Okay, we're famous for putting out spec assignments, and all that means is we propose a challenge, a writing challenge, and we actually need good copywriters. So this is legit. It's not just a challenge for fun or contest. This is, we want to see who can write well so we can hire people. And we're not the only one who does that. A lot of companies put out spec assignments, especially in the direct response publishing world, because they're constantly needing copywriters and they want to see what ideas you bring to the table. So a spec assignment is basically a sample you'll provide for free at first just to show your work, and if the company likes it, they will hire you. They'll pay you to flesh it out or to use it as is if it's already in great shape. But it's also just great practice, and you can use those writing samples on your website to attract clients and show your work. Okay, that's the end of me, and now I'm going to pass it back to Katie.
Fantastic. Now, you may be shaking your head and saying, oh, yeah, right, other writers are going to give me work. Well, I have to tell you, more times than not, this happens. It happens with such frequency because once writers get their groove going, once they get clients and have steady work for them, they often have more than they can handle. And that's why this AWAI community is so remarkable and so valuable, and really any type of community of writers that you can put together, because it's just the way life happens. You either get too busy, or there's something that's not quite right for you, or the client needs multiple things all at once. It's so valuable to have these collegial relationships and know people that you can trust and that you have each other's backs and that you can turn to. And, you know, there's lots of different ways to do this. Coming to boot camp is absolutely the best way, in my opinion, because you're actually meeting people, you're connecting, you're seeing your strengths and weaknesses, and you're forming a basis where you'll be helping each other. But there's also, you know, the Facebook group and LinkedIn and other sources than that. So other writers, a community of other writers, a network of other writers is very strong. Other ways to leverage relationships with writers is to cub for a more senior writer. Now, these positions aren't easy to come by, but when you do have the opportunity, if you do have the opportunity, it's just a great launching pad. It's a great learning vehicle. it's a great way to get on-the-job training, so to speak. As you're going through your career, and especially through the relationships that you're going to make, you're going to see you're going to find this, and you're going to find this to be true with other writers as well, that you do outgrow clients and move on, but you still want to maintain that relationship. You want them to be well taken care of. So that's when you have the opportunity to pay this forward, pay it backward, and bring other writers on to help you as well. So this can also be expanded to graphic designers. It's great to get friendly with some graphic designers. It's great to get friendly with some SEO experts, some people that specialize in other areas where you can feed each other clients, where you can help each other out. So don't underestimate that, and don't be afraid of it. Don't think that it's such a competitive, cutthroat world that it doesn't happen or that it's not realistic. I could tell you dozens and dozens of stories where this has been such a positive and valuable experience for our writers. In-house jobs. Now, we talk a lot about being a freelancer and living that's the way to the writer's life. But the reality is, for some people, that's not really what they want to do. There are some people that prefer actually working within a company, having a set schedule, having the regular paycheck and the benefits and everything that comes along with that. So be open to it. Not only is it a preference for some, but it's a great stepping stone for others. You don't have to go freelance. For anybody that can get a job at Agora, for example, I encourage them to take it. It might be like a 1 or 2 year experience, but you're going to be immersed. You're going to be learning from the best. You're going to be living, breathing copywriting. It really is the closest thing to an apprenticeship that you can have. And, Agora certainly isn't the only company, but there are lots of opportunities where you may come in as a staff writer, as an in-house writer, and then after a couple of years decide that you don't want to be necessarily in the office, but you can still maintain that relationship. AWAI always has in-house writers. We have 2 right now, but then we deal with, dozens and dozens of freelance writers at any given time. But the idea is that we know that the in-house writers probably will move on to freelance at some time, and that's great, and we support that and encourage it. But we also know how valuable it is for Tim and Julia, who we have right now, to be in the office every day and grinding away and working with Mark Ford and Paul and Sandy and Rebecca and me and Pam and everybody, and that they couldn't get that type of experience on their own. So when you're looking for jobs, if it says, in-house, don't discard it unless, it really isn't an option for you to move or to uproot your life if that's the case. But again, that's the company that's hiring copywriters. So see what other type of writing that they need, see how else you can contribute to them. If you're coming to boot camp and you come to job fair, there will be several, out of the 40 or so companies that come looking for writers, there will be some that are going to want at least an initial commitment that you will be in-house wherever they are for some period of time. For most, it really is just a year or two. And again, if you have that type of flexibility, I can't recommend it enough. Okay, so then a money-making website. This ties back to a lot of the other strategies that we've talked to. It's about, showing your value. It's about building your expertise status. It's about figuring out who you want to talk to and creating a website that speaks directly to them. So one example would be if you're in a particular niche, marketing for chiropractors. That could be a specific money-making website that you create to help chiropractors grow their business. You wouldn't necessarily be talking about the latest chiropractic trends or the techniques or equipment or things like that. You would be talking to them about how they can grow their chiropractic business. That's one example. But this is another way of leveraging the materials that you'll be creating for any one of these 26 and speaking to specific audience and presenting yourself as an expert. And I think that's it, right? Is that number 26? I think so.
That
was. All right, can you pass the ball over to me? Excellent.
I will. Best way to start. So Rebecca's going to tie this all up in a pretty bow.
So we've gone through 26 different methods, and that is, probably not all of them. That's the best that we could do with coming up with all the methods that we know. But the best way to start, what do you do now? As we've talked a lot about, being a professional, knowing what it is that you're selling. We've got tons of sessions on creating your marketing materials. You want to have a LinkedIn profile, things like that. But really from here, it's just picking a method or two that suits you. There's no perfect method. No method works better than all the others. It really is about the best marketing method is the one that you'll actually do. So whichever one feels good to you or whichever ones, those are the ones you want to use. You want to understand who your ideal clients are. That's why we oftentimes talk about picking a niche so that you can reach out. You can tell me, I want to work for this group of people. There are millions of companies. You can't go after millions of companies, but you could go after, 50, 100, even 250, 500. That's more reasonable. So who are your ideal clients? Once you know who they are, present yourself as a professional. You are a professional providing a professional service to companies. We're not looking for handouts or anything like that. Even if you're brand new and you've never had a client, you still provide a professional service. You are no different. Once you have your training from AWI, you are no different than the dentist who has paid for his training and who treats the first dental patient, right? He's not asking for a handout. He is a professional dentist. So if you have invested in yourself, if you have the skills, if you're ready to go as a writer and you're going to be working as a professional copywriter, you need to present yourself as such at every single turn. And then just be consistent. We talk about writers write, right? So you need to write every day. Writers need to also market themselves. If you want to be a freelance writer and you want to own your own business, do something every single day to market yourself. It doesn't have to be this big production. I'm not talking about putting together a big marketing plan for how you're going to market your business. Just go update your LinkedIn profile. Make one more connection. Post one more comment into someone's social media group. Send out one more follow-up email. Pick up the phone one more time. Have lunch with somebody. Go to a meetup group. It could be anything. It could be as small as writing up a new sample. Combine your writing everyday effort with your marketing yourself everyday effort and write up a new sample for your website. Change your homepage. It could be anything. Just do something every single day to market yourself. If you do that, 30 days from now, you will look back and say, holy cow, you might have a bunch of clients as well, but you'll see just how it can become part of everything that you do. And even when you're landing clients, you'll still keep marketing yourself because the beauty of being a freelancer and the beauty of the writer's life is it's all about freedom, right? We want to have choices. We want to have choices to let clients go and move them on to other writers when we've outgrown them. We want to have choices to write about something different or just, write for a different client or make higher fees or whatever it is. So keep marketing yourself. This is something that you're going to have to learn. So get in there and start marketing yourself. Just get comfortable doing this. We had a great Inside AWI last year on what clients want and how to approach them. So for those of you who are like, okay, great, I understand the methods, but I'm still not loving the idea of reaching out. I really don't understand who's on the other end of this email, phone call, whatever. Watch that session. Pam walks you through 5 different types of potential clients that you'll be talking to and what their pain points are, what they really want, and how to effectively approach them based on who they are. So that's a great way of understanding who's on the other side of this. We also have some resources that can help you be effective at these things. We have a program called 26 Market-Tested Getting Client Strategies for Any Personality. Obviously, it's the same 26 that we covered today. The difference is that we go deep dive into every single one of them. We have hired somebody who specializes in that method, that is their core method for how they get clients. So tons of experts. We've got, Nick Osborne, Steve Sloan-White, Joshua Boswell, them are in there, plus also AWI members who have uncovered some of these methods that are working well for them. Kathleen Aragon, for example, does a great job getting clients from blogging. So she did her session on blogging. But what they do is they take each of these methods and go very deep into the how-to. If you want to get clients blogging, here's what you do. You go step by step by step. So each of the methods is broken out into every single step to do it. Some are more comprehensive, obviously, because the method is more comprehensive or more intense or bigger. Other ones are really short because the method is very simple. You just have to understand kind of the best practices for being effective at it. So these links will all be clickable, and I'll post one in the chat here in a second. But it's a great program. And just spoiler alert, it will be on sale during the summer sale, which is coming up around the corner. So when you click on the link, you'll actually see a very discounted price for that. We also have tools like Build Your Freelance Website in 4 days. If you're not comfortable, if the idea of like putting up a website seems overwhelming, I literally walk you through how to put up your website, how to write your content. We handle the technical stuff for you and give you a review and let you know how to improve your website. So that's available. Essential business templates. This is things like marketing plans, proposals, invoices, all of those things that, we say be a professional, all the things that professionals would have. We literally give you the templates so that you can customize them. You can take our documents, put your name, your logo, your address, and use everything that we have as your own. So those are just some resources that can help you in this whole marketing yourself game. So with that, took us at hour 10, but we did it. We got through all 26. So hopefully that was useful for you all. And now we'll open it up to questions. I've got two. Okay. You guys can look at the Q&A. I have two real quick in the chat that I wanted to answer that didn't make it into the Q&A. David's asking, is cubbing like getting a mentor? So when you are cubbing, it can be considered a mentor, but sometimes senior writers will take on what we call cubs to work on their projects for them. So big copywriters, A-level copywriters who want to work on big packages but want to take on more packages, they're great at landing clients. People want to work with them. They don't want to spend the month doing all the work it takes to write the package. We'll oftentimes hire cubs to do research, write bullets, find testimonials, write out pieces of the package so that the copywriter can focus on the big idea, the headline, and leaving the offer, and then use your copy, work with you on putting your copy in to get them ahead. It just helps them move faster. So that's the cub relationship. You're working with somebody higher level who is working on a package, and you're helping them put that package together. And then his second question, is there a limit as to how many of my skill sets I should talk about in my elevator pitch? That would be the typical 30-second speech. Yes, I would get as focused as possible, and I would cut it down to like 15 seconds. So you want to just think about what is the one thing that I want this person to take away from this conversation. We call it your unique selling proposition, your USP. When I walk away having just met you, gosh, that David is what? If I need this thing, I will call David. What do you want me to walk away? Don't worry about the rest of it. I'm going to know, I'm going to reach out to you if I want to know if you write emails, for example. But if you are a copywriter focusing on solar technology businesses, you'll want to make sure that comes across. Like that, I know that if I'm in solar technology, you're the guy that I want to call. So just think about your elevator pitch. What's the thing that when I think of David, immediately recalls in my head, or when I need this thing, I immediately think of David. Okay, now over to the Q&A.
Just to add to that, and you want it to be a natural sentence. You don't want it to be this where you have 5 things going on and by the end you're catching your breath. You want it to be as conversational as possible, and like Rebecca said, as direct and focused, and where the light goes off like, oh yeah, I need that, or that makes sense. I think David has another question. I think it's the same David, about cubs. he's saying he doesn't think there's many writers I can cover for where I live. Where's a good way to find someone? And so there's two parts. In most cases that I'm aware of, when senior writers take on a cub, it doesn't have to be, it's not geographically bound. Most of this is done over the internet, just like most of copywriting, by email and by, maybe Zoom or Skype. And it is difficult to find, I won't sugarcoat that. It is hard to find a senior writer to mentor you because it's a big investment of their time. So it's about developing a relationship and, finding out who the writers are that you're really interested in, that you like who they do, and that takes a little bit of research as well. And then just like anything else that we've been talking about, starting a relationship. Show them that you are going to be able to help them be faster, stronger, more successful. But it's a process, and it's not super easy to come by. I just want to give a shout out to John, who just joined us a week ago, and was happy to be part of this conversation, and I just wanted to let him know to be sure and take advantage of all the amazing free resources that are available to you now as an AWA member, and we're rooting for you and looking forward to celebrating your success. Robert is asking, any tips on selecting how many of these strategies and prioritizing? Is there a litmus test for matching the strategy to the result we're looking for? I'll give a quick answer. Rebecca touched on this. It's whatever one you're going to do. Some of these are going to be exciting to you. Others are going to cause dread. Others are going to feel like torture. Pick three. You're not locked into them forever. Try them. And if they work, great, continue, add a few more. If they don't work, stop, add a few more. And that would be the way that I would approach it. And I would think about how you can repurpose and reutilize the materials that are needed or that support the different methods.
I see one here that I'd like to start answering, and then maybe you guys want to chime in too. For Stephen, if you're a career changer and your LinkedIn profile reflects the old career more than the new one, especially in terms of endorsements of specific skills, what is the best way of getting new endorsements in your niche prior to getting clients? So I would say if you're trying to work in a new niche, first of all, update your LinkedIn profile at the top that adds that new niche, that new job or new offering in your headline. So you saw Steve Mauer's B2B. He's still working at his job, but he added that whole copywriting direction at the top. So even before people look at the endorsements or anything else, the very first thing they'll look at is the top. And so you'll want to make sure that you update your description of what you offer and who you're offering the services to. And then also, if you can, a lot of people try this to get their first client. Like if let's say you're in the gardening industry, I'm making that up, but you go and you're a regular customer to a local garden center. Maybe they'll be willing to do some trade with you, or you can do their website for free, or just get for a very small amount of money, just so you have some momentum started in that niche industry. And then you'll have a sample, you'll have a testimonial, and then it goes from there. You might do other kinds of marketing from them too, not just a website. But once you do that, you can then put that kind of stuff on your website and a LinkedIn profile, and you could even ask the garden center if they'd be willing to endorse you on your LinkedIn profile. So just to get something under your belt that is in that niche, reach out to companies you do business with or whatever it is that you have a contact with for that industry, and see if you can work it that way and just build from there. Anybody else have a thought on that?
No, I think that's good.
Me too.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it all there. Tamara is asking, demonstrating your expertise is pretty important to clients, but how do you do that without industry experience before you get client work? Well, Tamara, if you've gone through the accelerated program for six-figure copywriting, you have expertise, you have knowledge, you have insight. You can help your potential clients be better writers, better marketers, produce better copy. So I think that the challenge is to demonstrate how you can apply the lessons that you've learned in a way that's relevant to them. Pam, can you touch on that as far as, I know you've been in that, you know, many moons ago you were in that situation, but don't you agree that just by understanding what they're learning at AWAI, they do have expertise?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, when you are networking or anything or writing blog posts, please know that clients are not copywriting experts. Most clients, except for the really sophisticated direct response type of companies that have been using copy and they measure it and they analyze it and all that stuff, most other companies have no idea how it works, which is why even as you're starting to learn persuasive copywriting methods and how to focus on the prospect and how to understand making an emotional impact through a headline, most clients have no idea how any of that works. So you are instantly light years ahead of them. So take some confidence in that. And then, again, like I said, if you can start to find some clients to write for, even if they're just people you do business with, or even if it's a family member who owns a business, wherever you can get going, do that. And you will build confidence, you will build samples, and then you'll have that background to show as your expertise.
We've had writers, there's this one writer in particular, he was hired by a really big, well-known direct marketing company, very well respected and established in the industry. And he'd just been hired by them based on a writing sample that he did after he took our program, and he went to his first copy review meeting with his new marketing team. And the copy was put on the table, and he looked at it and he's like, well, you know, that headline doesn't have the 4 U's. And they're like, what are you talking about? And he says, well, it's not urgent, it's not this, it's not that. And then also, you know, one of the legs is missing. This doesn't have the 4 legs. And you know, he literally called me after this meeting and said, they think I'm a marketing genius. You know, I can't believe that I was actually challenging and helping and making this copy better, but they didn't realize that. So think about how you can teach and improve what your clients are already doing in a way that is positive and reaffirming of what they're doing.
I'd like to answer this question out loud, even though I answered it in the Q&A. How long should you try a specific method to properly assess how well it is working? I kind of answered something similar above. There's really no right answer to this. If you guys just market yourself every single day, you will eventually find success by just putting yourselves out there. But what you want to be looking for, 2 things here. 1, timing is everything with when you meet somebody. The chance of you connecting with somebody today who is looking to literally hire someone right now, the thing that you offer, is very rare. You know, they don't even know who you are. It takes time to like build relationships and trust. Same thing like Katie was saying with the cubbing. They're having to put trust in you to hire you and assign you this assignment. So you need to start that conversation when you're marketing yourself. Timing is important though, because, and that's why you want to stay front of mind. That's why relationship marketing is so important, that you stay front of mind so that when they are ready to hire, they think of you immediately. When they do need someone, you know, like Steve Mauer's situation, when I needed someone, my social media manager was leaving. When we needed somebody, I remembered Steve Mauer. He was front of mind because he was always there. Jim Wright was another perfect example. He took my Build Your Freelance Website webinar series, and he just was around. He was constantly giving me ideas for things on the website that could be improved and just all these little things. So when I needed a new 3-minute guru for Wealthy Web Writer, someone to put together these videos, he was the person I called. When I wanted someone to help me with the webinar series, he was the person I called. He was front of mind. So make these connections. That's your first step here, and then stay in touch. Form real relationships with these people. And then as far as once you're actually marketing yourself, and, you know, I had a couple emails or a couple messages from people saying, and I've done this, 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 and this, and it's not working. Well, it's not working. Something in the way that you're marketing yourself isn't working. So you have to take a step back. Where is the failure happening? And it's a learning process. So are you not getting any leads at all? Is nobody contacting you on your website? Okay, well, what are you doing to bring people to you? You know, are you reaching out? Are you participating? Is it easy for them to find you? Are you participating in groups where potential clients really are? Are you doing things to drive them to your website, like Pam was talking about search engine optimization, you know, of your website? Is that the problem? Are we not even getting any connections with people? So what can we do there? Maybe we're getting tons of connections, but the problem always seems in my follow-up. I can't get anyone, they reach out to me, and then I can't get them to follow up after that. Okay, well, what can I do differently there? That's my point of failure now. I've got the leads coming in, but the point of failure, and I'm not saying failure on you, but breakdown in your marketing, is that I'm getting people to contact me, but then I'm losing them somehow. So let's take a step back. What am I doing? What could I do differently that could make those relationships stronger? Or maybe that's no problem. I've got plenty of leads. I've got great relationships. People like me. I get all the way through to proposal, and I can't close the deal. Something is happening. Maybe I'm pricing improperly. Maybe it's the way I'm writing my proposal. It's so much of this just happens. You'll just learn as you go. But the more you put out there, the more actions that you take, the more opportunities you'll have to learn, and you'll start just to figure out. Just take that step back for a second and say, what is the part where I feel like I'm not being successful, and what can I do to affect that one thing? Don't just think about marketing as a general topic or a general activity. There are all these little pieces, and I'm not saying it to scare you, but this is a business. I mean, the reason why copywriters make so much money is because they're providing a very valuable service, and it's a business, right? You're working for clients who are paying you thousands of dollars. It's a business. You're not paying, you know, again, going to the dentist example, I'm going to go to a dentist to clean my teeth. I'm going to pay $150. The risk isn't so great. Now, if he decides to do dental work on me, obviously there's more risk there because I'm putting more money in. But it's the same thing with writers. You know, they're paying you thousands of dollars to do work. It's going to take a little. You know, you got to make sure that you're able to prove that you're worthy of that money, that you have the value there. So it's a good thing, but it just takes a little bit of time to learn all of this stuff. So know that going in, that it's not like you're going to pick up the phone and there you go, that's it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We might have to work at it just a little bit of time. So there's no specific time to say this method is working or not working. It's really about reflection and saying what is working and what specifically is not working, and how can I fix the thing, or how can I change the thing and try to improve upon the thing that does not seem to be working. Hopefully that makes sense.
And, you know, it's all about ROI. You are running a business, your copywriting business, and what investment of your time, resources, money, et cetera, are going to pay the best, and you know, at what point do you see that it is offering a return? Pam is asking, what do you think about writing for content mills? She's in the UK, a new member. I wrote back, not a fan, but I said that I'd also get Rebecca and Pam Foster's opinion on that.
So I think content mills serve a purpose for people who don't have any experience at all and lack total confidence in their writing. Content mills are places that produce a ton of content and pay you very little. So the two things that you're going to get from that, because you're not going to get a lot of money, you're going to get confidence, and you're going to get, you know, in your experience, and you're going to get samples that you can use. So what you want to do when you approach working potentially for content mills is to know going in like that. Just like investing in training, right? You're investing your time in working for content mills. You're not going to make any money. And so the end game for you is to know, once I work for a content mill, if I write 50 articles, then I'm done. If I write 20 articles, then I'm done. Have an end in sight. Why are you doing it? And then define that. Define what confidence will look like for you when you reach it. Define how many samples you want, that kind of thing. And then as soon as you do that, you cut it and you stop doing that. Same thing goes like working on spec. once you get to a certain point and you have samples, you won't be working on spec anymore, where you are potentially submitting a headline and lead idea for somebody to evaluate and see whether you're on the same page. You might approach clients and even say, heck, I'll work for you for free just for the sample, the use of your name, and a strong testimonial. Do I recommend that long term? No, but if that's what you feel like for your marketing efforts, I want 3 clients, I want 3 samples, I want 3 testimonials, then just say that. But the minute you hit your 3, you're done. So that's how I would approach a content mail. Use it, be strategic about how you're using it so that you're using it to your advantage.
Excellent.
So I have a question here on LinkedIn that I'd like to answer, Tamara. If you can only do one thing on LinkedIn and you niche it, do you take out the possibility, sorry, I can't even talk anymore, the possibility of more general work to fill out the slow start to getting the business going? So absolutely, take any work you can get. I focus on the veterinary industry in my freelance life, but if somebody comes along and says, I need a whole website on commercial dumpsters, can you help me? I'll be like, heck yeah, because it's a client that has money, and I will take anything I can get. However, it doesn't limit you when you are immersed in a niche. Once you get the momentum going, it doesn't limit you at all. In fact, it helps you, more clients find you. I have been, because if somebody just types in copywriter now in Google, there's like 10 billion results, and you're going to have a hard time being on page 1 among all that. But if you say you're the copywriter in the gardening industry or travel for seniors or whatever it is, and the client types in that phrase, you might be one of just 1 or 2 or a handful, half a dozen of copywriters, so you're pretty much going to be on page 1 of Google, and that means more clients will find you. And it doesn't limit the kind of work you're doing, because one client might have a need for a website to be redone. The next client might need a bunch of emails or a newsletter. The next client might need something else. And these clients may all have different kinds of businesses in that niche. So it's actually quite unlimiting, and you get more business leads. So that's my answer on that one. Oh my gosh, are we done?
I think so. I don't see any other questions.
All right, let's do a quick last call. Any more questions? Are we going to be hearing some great success stories from you guys trying out these 26 methods?
The past asking about you don't own what you write. So no, the client will own the copyright. Like if you write an article for AWI, we own the copyright for that article. Most people have syndication, permission though. So like if you write an article for AWI and you want to reprint it as a sample on your website, we're going to let you do that, but we're going to ask for you to cite it as the original source being on our website, something called duplicate content. Google doesn't like to see the same content on 2 different websites. So there are things like that. Another situation you might get into is if you ghostwrite for somebody. So if you write a letter and it's signed by Katie Yeakle, we don't want you posting that saying, I wrote this letter, because that's not, it kind of lifts the veil or lifts the curtain, for lack of a better phrase. But so your clients might not allow you to post that sample, so you just hold those samples. So they own the copyright for the content, they own the copyright for the copy, but just if you can't post the samples that you have already written, what you typically do is you just post on your website samples upon request, and then you can definitely send things client to client. From you to a client, you're just not publishing to the world that you wrote this article under the name of whomever, owner of pet company A. You wouldn't be publicizing that. So they do own the copyright, but a lot of times if you just ask, they will allow you to use it as a sample. And remember, samples are just samples of your writing. You could just change everything and make it unique if it's a real piece of work, or you can just make it up. If you want to write emails, just write 3 emails in your industry, and those are your samples. Clients are just literally looking for samples of your writing. It doesn't have to be anything that has ever mailed, been published, been posted anywhere. It's not about client recognition. It's just a sample of your work.
Well, I'd like to throw something in too. When you're a freelancer, you are a work for hire. You're being hired to provide copy to the client. So they're paying you for that copy, and they own it. It's short and simple.
Good point.
Okay. Brian was asking any recommendations for starting your own website, and my response was, but just so everybody can hear it, is Rebecca does this great program where she walks you through the entire process. It's solely focused on creating a website for freelance writers, and I put the link in my answer under Brian Schwing's question. So, or you can find it in the catalog, but I highly recommend that. And a couple questions about the email contest, and we're assuming that you're talking about the contest that Nick offered last Friday. I believe there were quite a few responses, so we're getting to those. Oh, it was published today?
You know, it's so funny, Katie. Like, it's such a small company, but yet stuff gets published on our website. So, yeah, they're actually already been published today. I'm going to post the answer here. And the winners are, if anybody on here submitted, it was Eric Karowski, Ria Goes, and I don't know his last one, Shandy Nizwander. Shandy Nizwander. We had 700 submissions.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to do this like every week because I love the fact that everybody put pen to paper and did it. So I think we should totally do more of these. That's so awesome to me.
Well, congratulations to them.
Yes.
And the important thing is you guys and getting focused on this and making a commitment. You know, this is a good weekend to do this. Review these methods, really think about them. Get the program that we have that goes into more details if that's what will help spur you on. And, you know, with next weekend being a long weekend, it's just a great time to get a little bit of momentum going and really make this a goal for this summer by the time the summer's over to start building your client base.
All right, everyone. Can you write a spec for Wealthy Web Writer for a sample? You can just write any sample that you want. I mean, you could send it in as a spec. That's another idea. That's actually a great idea. Write a sample for yourself and then send it to the company that you want to write for and just say, hey, here you go. I wrote this as a spec or just as a sample for myself, but if you want to use it, you can pay me for it. So yeah, that's basically you creating your own spec opportunity. So yes, go ahead and write a spec for Wealthy Web Writer and then send it to Heather Robson, who heads up that page. Oops. So there's 2 spots in the email Copy Made Easy program. I don't know. I'll write it down though, and I will find out the answer. So we have a news section on our website, and we always publish them there. If you go to the website, at the very top left, you'll see the word news. And usually Katie announces any news stories in her weekend review on Saturdays as well. But Tim, I will look for that answer, and I will email Jay right now.
I got to be sure those winners are announced tomorrow. Huh. I did the issue early. That's what I get. Getting ahead. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for participating. Gold stars for everybody. We do these every month, and you know, I hope you can tell how much we love doing this, how much we love this opportunity to connect with you and answer your fantastic questions, and just make sure you know how much we value you and your participation in AWAI.
Hear, hear. We love this. We love you guys. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.